Yeah, as a child, there were challenges about people always. So sport was something that gave me this relief. I can't say that I have a group of friends to like many people would have. So all that suppression had to come out in some way. So I took to drinking as a way to get it out. When I went for masters in Italy, the whole time I was on some stimulants. That's it. The magic of life was gone. When I came to India and met this person, my friend, she asked me a question which nobody asked me in my life until that day. She asked me, "Are you happy?" and just my body became alert. Like nobody ever asked me that question, and I didn't have an answer for that. I always respected her, and I looked up to her in a certain way because her choices or the way she was different to how I saw other uh, from others. So later on, I came to know that she is a Isha meditator. That's in this conversation only when I was with her. She told me since almost 10 years she was a Isha meditator. Her family was Isha meditators. So she told me in that conversation she is going to Isha Coimbatore Ashram for Adi Yogeshwar Linga consecration, which was happening in February. So this term consecration I heard for the first time in my life. So I heard two things for the first time: am I happy and consecration. So both of them just stayed in my mind. A month later I went back to Italy to finish my masters, but this word consecration stayed with me so much. I started exploring what is it, and then I saw some energy and all these things started coming up. I saw Sadhguru images. So I didn't pursue it at that point because when I went back, I was so broke down because of this question, am I happy, that I went all out. I took it out through smoking weed and everything. Like those few months from February to almost July, I didn't even eat. If there was something my friends kept, I used to eat, or else I used to have milk and a few eggs. That's it. Rest of it, it's either alcohol or weed. So my mind, body, everything I destroyed. When she asked me this question, I don't know from where I got this thought, but I felt that if I destroy myself totally, then I'll find my answers. So I went all out in destroying myself mentally, physically. I abused myself to what extent I could, and finally I broke down. So when I had this breakdown, I came to India again in July. That was unexpected. I thought I'll come back after masters, but within 5 months I came back again. And this time the only thing in my mind was I have to go to the ashram, because those 5 months I was so obsessed with the word consecration, this energy, what is all this? So I thought in this state only Sadhguru would understand me. So I wrote email to Isha saying that I'm having a breakdown. Can I come to the ashram? I was writing, please. I was so stupid. I asked like, please let Sadhguru know I'm in such a space. So I used to write mails, but somehow this friend of mine, she advised me to take therapy. So I got distracted from my aim of going to the ashram to taking therapy. Few months it continued from July to almost end of that year. December, I was taking therapy sessions, which kind of got me out of this pattern of thinking I'm gay. But at the same time, it gave me a lot of hope that I can come out of smoking, because I gave up weed during this therapy. So I realized if I can give up one thing, I can give up the other also. Then I started working by myself. When in July I came, almost September I went back to Italy again after 3 months. I continued my therapy to online sessions. So when I was back in Italy, this time my main purpose was to work on myself and grow. That became the sole purpose. This time I was totally determined with that one agenda, that I have to grow. out of all this.
Is it easy in foreign countries to find stimulants, and is it common and normal and accepted in the society there? I mean, more than how it is in India?
It's become part of their lifestyle. So if you see now, many families even here have accepted that as part of their life. I've know friends that whose father, sons, father, elder son, younger son, all of them have their own friend circle in the same house and drink. So it's become part. It was not like this even in India a few generations ago. So there, the culture, we got it from there. So now it's kind of their household tradition also, that they all have wine on certain festivals, like that. So the main thing is, because see, if something is illegal or forbidden, your tendency to explore that is stronger.
Yeah.
But because there it's a little more accepted and open, people know that at certain age they will do it, at certain age they will move on. Of course, there are cases where it all depends on balance. Sometimes you go overboard because you are not having that balance to handle it. But many of the families, it's like this. At the same time, when I was having all these issues, I saw my friends how they handle alcohol versus me. It's very different. So yeah, there are people who are worse than me, but also many of the people are know how to handle it. In their life, it has a certain role, but they are not like addicted around it. They have their education, so if it's time for education, they go all out. There's no compromise on that. If they come partying, they go all out. There's no compromise. So they live like that because that's all they know. And the age 20s to 30, it's about exploring all this. They're all your teenage. So they live like that. They explore maximum whatever they can. And yeah, if you say which are illegal, yeah, you get them. At the same time, it's not cheap. So here you have a lot of bias towards it. People label you if you do anything as such. But there, whatever you do, they don't judge you. So that makes it easier on their part. That, see, basically their way of brought up is also different. By the time they're 18, I think they have to start earning for themselves. So whatever they're doing it with their money. So nobody has a right to question. But because it's illegal, they can't purchase it directly also from a store. But it's easily available. And even though people know, like your friends know that you are a smoker or pot, whatever, they still hang around with you. They have their own limitation, boundaries, but they don't never judge you that this is such a kind of person, or they don't push you away. So in that way, yeah. So as a society, they are little more acceptance is there regarding that. I was saying about Aditya, right? So when I came, when I was having this breakdown in 17, I met him once. I went to his house, and like every time I sat down to listen to him. But this time my longing was so intense that his knowledge could not satisfy me anymore. Until that point, this was the greatest thing I could listen in my life. But that conversation that day, this was not enough. I wanted something beyond this. So that's why I never went back to him. Like once in a while we spoke. I even offered him inner engineering at a later point that please do this. It can help you. Because I genuinely thought that, because I saw the limitedness of
what he's doing.
Yeah. I started running. I started doing some workouts so that I'll stay away from cigarettes. I decided for myself that before a cigarette I'll go run and then have a cigarette. So I will actually feel the impact. The cigarette is destroying your health. So if you are improving on one end and doing this, at some point you have to realize your stupidity and you have to give up. So I just created some methodologies to which I can stick to and grow. In the same way for masturbation also. So for everything I had a few methodologies through which I can break these patterns. So that was a great time for me because I was striving by myself. There was nobody, no support system around me. All this work I was doing alone, within myself, very silently, very secretly. Outside, of course, my public wise life was, in Greece. Like from Italy, I went to Greece for my thesis for 5 months. So in Greece, we had something called Erasmus Oscars. Erasmus is a scholarship program. So Oscars, they just created for fun. And I was selected in the most drunk category. For 5 months consistently, whoever was the most drunk, they were in that category. 3 or 5 people were selected for each category. Like they have best couple and whatever, best sportsman, best footballer, and I was like the most drunk. So of course, even in that, somebody else beat me. He got the award, which was an insult to me after all that work I put in. Then I thought, by that time my body was giving up. It could not take anymore. I could not smoke or drink anymore. I realized that if I do more, then I'm gone. So I pushed my to that edge, because of which I'm still suffering. My body is not completely recovered. Though I stopped in 2019, I still see the damage that it has on me. Just through yoga, I have improved my body a lot to Hatha Yoga and whatever practices. But yeah, there is still a lot, a little more, maybe not a lot as compared to 2 years ago, but yeah, there is a little more that I am still facing the consequence of whatever I did until that point. Though I was so depressed and I was broken down, I used to I was obsessed with Shiva, because I have read Immortals of Meluha, Amish's trilogy, and that gave me the impression that if there is one ideal man in the world, then that is Shiva. Then I want to be like him. If anybody I can look up to, because at that point I could not have anyone in my life to really relate to. So Shiva was my ideal, like I should be like this. So that much, that was the only vision I had. So when I was still broken down, even though I was drunk, I knew that the way Shiva is portrayed, everything is accepted. Now nothing is a taboo for him. So that gave me a lot of ease, that even though I'm drunk, I'm in such a state, I can still take his name, I can dance in his name. So that was the best part for me. Even though you are smoking, you are totally intoxicated with stimulants, still that was the ease that I had in my life, that oh, Shiva se kuch bhi you need not hide. I used to just listen to his music, some chants. Somewhere I was exploring this consecration, meditation, what is all this, how does it impact your life. So I was keen on getting out of this rut and improving my life. So all this all this searching was happening, though I didn't have a direction as to what would really get me out of this situation. I knew that my determination was there. So at that time, in Europe there is this program Erasmus, so you can go to another country and study for a semester or two. So I chose to go to Greece. So there, again, wherever you go, you have a certain goal, but there will be distractions. So Greece, maybe it was the same thing, like how it happened in Italy. Greece was all about party life, all students coming there, 5 months of total party. So I was also in that. Hardin, we never, I think, hardly remember 1 or 2 days that I stayed home. All other nights we used to go, come back with at sunrise. So all nights we were there partying. It was a great time. Like I think before Sadhanapada, this was the best time of my life, because you're so going out, which is not familiar with me. I used to go out, meet people. I used to do things that I never did in my life, and it was kind of molding me and into a different person. And my own progress was also showing up. That previously I used to drink every day, but in Greece there was a time, in such a situation where all around there was a party life. In such a situation, I think for more than 10 days I went without alcohol or cigarettes. So yeah, it all started to show into results that I could stay without stimulants. One big thing I remember was in Italy when I started jogging and running, that thing was not so consistent. But I started exploring this other side, right? The meditation and consecration. So I came across this practice, Isha Kriya. So while I was in Greece, I used to live in a single room with a few others. Everybody has their own room. So in my room, I used to started practicing Isha Kriya once, and I loved it so much. I made it a point to come back from a party one day, like party in the sense we used to go out and hang out in a local pub, a student hangout zone. So I made sure that I finished my kriya and then went to the place. So I loved it so much I wanted to do it again. And then I added one more practice. I did upayoga, so directional movements. So that was also very, very wonderful. I could see how many muscles in my arm actually exist. It was so wonderful to just see that, simple practice, but how much intense it can be. So once in a while, I think I didn't continue for too long, but I clearly remember that those two practices created an impact on me and made me relaxed, a little more relaxed, because right until now it was like driving myself through pressure that somehow I have to get over this mountain of this rut. But after doing this practice, I eased into the process. Just doing it a few times, I saw a difference within me, and people also started noticing that difference. When I went back to Italy after these 5 months, though I didn't keep up this practice, my results were showing up, and the way I responded to people, like suppose say some person used to take advantage of me, I would just leave it because I wouldn't stand up for myself. But that changed. The same people, I used to stand up against them, and it's not easy when you go for masters. Many people tell you, you don't just explore about yourself, you get into so many situations with people around you. So you either go into a shell or you go break it. So I was in a shell until that point. The first 2.5 years in Italy, I just let everyone push me around. So even now I let them, but then I stand up when it's necessary. So that time I didn't know this. I could not muster the strength to do that. So this changed when I went back to Italy. It was a pleasant change in a way that when people told me, I felt good that something is working. All this striving for so many years somehow is resulting. And I think that also created the impression that I need to visit the ashram. That somehow this is working. So I need to make it more intense. I need to just dive into it and look at the depth of it. So while the ashram dream was so strong, slowly forming, in Greece I fell in love with another person. I should not say love, but I had feelings for another person. She was from Lebanon. Initially I didn't even know, I didn't have the clarity, like I was so messed up in my head, I didn't even realize I have feelings for this girl. It was my flatmate who told me that, I think you like her, and only then I realized.
Okay.
Even she was the one who told me that she also likes me back.
Okay.
So I was like, is it true? I checked, and yeah, it was. So we went out a couple of times, we started dating for a while, but I could not pursue it because again the same old pattern started coming in. I could not let myself totally fall, as they say, fall in love. So I could not let myself fall. I was having this barrier within myself so strong, all my limitations talking to me, so many things happening in my mind saying that no, this will not happen because of this reason, so many times. So I decided that okay, fine, I might not succeed, but at least these 5 months I will give my best to her. I didn't know how to do that. I never knew because in a way I never saw that in my family, how to love a person and how to be with them. So I didn't know how to be with her. But one thing was sure, that she was amazing the way she was. Like she was in my life, if I look at any woman, she was the one I can say was the most inspirational, and I was just in awe that wherever she went, she was just she becomes the situation. Like everything is about her. If suppose she walks into a party, suppose say it's my birthday, she comes in, even I am about her. I don't care about me anymore.
Okay.
So that much impact she has on people.
Hmm.
They just love being around her.
Hmm.
And yeah, it was kind of proud that I was with her,
Hmm.
that I found such a woman.
Ah.
But at the same time, my own struggles that I'm not good enough for her
Ah.
were there within me. So how to deal with it, I didn't know. But I was trying because my own self progress was also happening on the other side.
Hmm.
So yeah, I was too much dependent on her probably because of this lack of self image.
Hmm.
That nobody can take. Everybody has boundaries. So that's where I think we kind of drew lines.
Hmm.
I would not say I would want to have her in my life still, but definitely my life is enriched because I met her. Those 5 months, I've learned that people like that can exist. So in a world full of booze and party,
Hmm.
she brought the party with her. If she came,
Ah.
no booze is required. Your mood changes.
Wow.
She could do that to a party.
Hmm.
So I was just amazed with that energy and what she can do and how she lives her life. So somewhere later on, I heard Sadhguru when I came back to Italy after this 5 months.
Hmm.
I came across some article or somewhere Sadhguru speaking about people, just with their energy and how they can change the atmosphere, and such people he need not initiate in person.
Ah.
So whatever he said, I felt that it's true for her.
Okay.
But at the same time, it was a little difficult because I didn't know, because I felt out of place that if suppose we both were together and I was looking up to her to lead me,
Hmm.
what is her expectation? I never knew.
Hmm.
I don't know what is general expectation of a woman in a relationship,
Hmm.
whether she wants to be led or the freedom
wants to
she
lead.
wants.
Hmm.
So everything I didn't know what proportion I have to, how to be with her.
Hmm.
That again was the question.
Ah.
But from my end, it was a great experience to be with her. I don't know how much discomfort I caused to her by being there. But yeah, definitely she made a benchmark in my life.
So you came back.
Yeah, I've come back and I was not over her because I still wanted to live with her.
Hmm.
But my limitations didn't allow me. In fact, in Greece, I thought that I will move to Lebanon with her.
Hmm.
I will live in the Isha Ashram at Lebanon. Because for me, only one dream was, because all this was not happening, my dream was to live in ashram in the end.
Hmm.
I thought I have no purpose, anything. I have to visit the ashram. That was the only dream I was living for at that point.
Hmm.
So when she came in my life, now there were two things. I was saying how to compensate these two things, balance them. Then I saw Lebanon, right when the city there she lives, there is Isha Ashram, the capital.
Hmm.
So I thought, okay, fine, this works out well. I can be with her, I can be in Isha.
Hmm.
But then, yeah, it was not so simple. My limitations didn't allow me to even take that step to be with her.
Hmm.
So I came back to Italy and I was like depressed, going over that phase of coming out of it and continuing my journey of growth, self-growth. And by that time it was coming to the end of my master's. So my thesis was done in Greece. I had just a few, 3 or 4 exams to clear and then I would get my degree. So that was the moment I had to decide, like I had very few choices now. I'm graduating, so what is the next step was the question in my head. So I think 4 months or 4 to 6 months after I came back from Greece, I had to graduate. That was a deadline for me, or else I'll not get scholarship anymore. So I have to pay. So I didn't have a choice, I have to study. Then I put in a little effort. So my choices were, at that time they were planning a reunion in Greece again. I thought, okay, for her I'll go back. But I didn't go. I didn't have the courage to show up and tell her that I'll be with her. I want to be with her for the rest of the life. All these things I didn't have the courage to. So I didn't take that step. I put all my focus into going to the ashram, somehow reaching the ashram. So once masters is done, I was clear that I will go to India, do inner engineering program and go to the ashram. February end I graduated. March first week I came to India. April I did inner engineering. In May I volunteered for the first inner engineering program. And when I was coming to India, I was having IBS. It's irritable bowel syndrome. For almost last 7 to 8 months I was carrying this. And I was taking medication when I came to India, but it was not getting cured. In April when I did my inner engineering program, I was still struggling with it. But in May when I volunteered for the program, I was cured of it. I had stopped my medication and I didn't have IBS anymore. Just through Shambhavi, within few days of completing the program, I was cured of IBS. In fact, I shared when you share in volunteer experience, that was what I shared. Like, I saw this change. Last month I did the program myself and now I am in a different space altogether, mentally and physically. My health was improving. So, during this volunteering time, somebody told me about Sadhanapada. So, immediately it felt like to all the questions, what is next? And what is the purpose of life? All these questions. I felt Sadhanapada is the answer. I applied and within 10 days I got selected. So June I was selected for Sadhanapada. July I was in the ashram for Sadhanapada.
Wow.
And that's it. I didn't want to look back. When I reached the ashram, the first impression was, this is the place I've been looking for. Like Ramakrishna Mutt, Italy, everywhere I went searching for answers. I was just certain, I was just relaxed finally that I am here. This is where I'll find everything.
How will you describe that feeling of going to the ashram for the first time? How did you feel that time?
I didn't understand what is ashram. So, one thing, when you have that conversation with family that you're going away for 7 months, they put all those things like, oh, in the ashram they'll be like this, like this, like this. And then you go to Isha Ashram, Coimbatore, and you see it's completely different to the definition they give you. There is a Isha Shoppy, there is a pepper wine. The first impression is like, I was taking videos and showing that, hey, you're wrong. See this place, how it is. It's so modern. You're thinking all this movie type
Ashram.
Yeah, that people will become something. But here is completely different. It was breaking my own perception of what an ashram is. And I wanted to share that with others also. But they wouldn't understand so easily. So I was just enjoying that newness, and the most important thing was I felt the freedom again. Even in Italy, I went there for freedom, to be by myself. But it was not easy because so many people around you. You live in an apartment with 7 to 10 people sometimes. So it's not, they won't give you that space. But here you have that finally. Nobody bothers you. You have all the time for yourself. You can sit, explore whatever you want within yourself. So that was the beauty of being in the ashram for me.
So by this time when you are into Sadhanapada, did you ever feel like going back to the stimulants and intoxication, or did they just drop after you started doing Shambhavi?
So I think April 17th was my inner engineering program. On 18th we went out and had a few drinks. Even I smoked on that day. Morning 6 to 9 was my inner engineering program, and after that we planned an outing. We went somewhere, a brewery, and we smoked, drank, everything. But after that day, something changed. So 17th to 24th or 23rd was the program. On 18th was the last time I had a cigarette or alcohol. After that day, something changed in the class aspect or what, I don't know. But I never took to it. Yes, mentally there is some craving that that pattern is there because it was existing for so many years. When did I start? I think 2010. So almost 8 years, 9 years. So that many years the pattern was on, that it was my go-to solution for so many years. So still that pattern was on, that sometimes I feel like I miss it. I want to do it once, but I know the consequences of it, how it will impact my body. I've seen that, and also I was never compelled to try it. Definitely not alcohol. Cigarette was a stronger compulsion for me. Alcohol I never felt like I have to go back to. Though sometimes mentally that thought comes, it doesn't take me in that direction.
Okay.
With cigarette it's like, it's similar. Like the thought comes up. Acha, when I'm frustrated, irritated, I feel like this is a solution. So that's how the mind works. But immediately the wisdom also comes in that this is not the solution. This is an escape. So by seeing that, I never went there so far. So it's been 4 years since April 2019. So it's been little more than 4 years.
So you went to Sadhanapada.
Yeah.
How was your experience?
Physically and mentally it stretches you. For me, physically was a challenge because I had gone into Sadhanapada with such a weak body. After all that, I hardly could sleep at nights. With all I was in dining, so with all the dining activity, lifting, I just went to room. I used to always be in pain. It was a miserable situation for me, those 7 months. Torture, pain everywhere in the body. I could not even fold my legs for Shambhavi. I used to put 2 cushions and sit down.
Okay.
So that was my Sadhanapada journey. In fact, for one of the practice at Shakti Chalna, I used to carry 3 big pillows of this size.
Okay.
Literally, people used to ask me, are you shifting to some other accommodation? See me with that much luggage in hand.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a torture physically, but definitely that's what made me
what you are now. So didn't you feel like quitting at any point of time during your Sadhanapada?
I wanted more. I just wanted to be left alone. In fact, even I didn't have 5 minutes to talk to my parents. If you properly follow the Sadhanapada schedule, even getting 5 minutes to speak to them is because you're compromising somewhere on the schedule, or else you won't get that space. So if my parents call, I'm like, okay, fine, I'll call you later. Just within 2 minutes, I used to cut the call. Hardly I used to have time because I have to move from one thing to the other. The schedule is already given. So I was there for transformation, self-transformation. So I have to give myself to that. If I deviate, I don't know, because one thing, the urgency was built up so much that I understood it's only for 7 months. With each passing day, your time is getting less that you can work on yourself. And I only told my parents for 7 months. So after that, what I have to face, I don't know. So this 7 months, I don't want to compromise. I want to be left alone. Even though it's torture, hell, I just want to go through it.
According to you, what kind of people should go for Sadhanapada? I mean, should it be like the young people or like middle-aged or like how?
Everyone. So I was always telling whoever asked me this that first you should do Sadhanapada and do anything else in your life.
Okay.
Yeah, it will make a difference. There are people around you in your own seva and the situations that are also striving, and you can sense that. If you are doing something, somebody has given a little more, and once they push themselves in that direction, you see it. So you are always on your toes because you see all around you, people are striving so much to break their limitations. And I had that company. So that was, I think, the greatest privilege, that you are in a company of like-minded people who are striving to go beyond their present circumstances. And they're all there for that one thing. They're pushing themselves. So that circle automatically draws your attention. You don't have to sit and know them personally, but just seeing them, they've left so many things and come here, and how they're giving themselves to that process. So this entitlement was always something I carried. Even though I saw these people striving and breaking their limitations, though they make me insecure many a times, that I feel entitled. These people show me that no, I cannot relax here. There is more. So that was the best part. Always you are in that crowd where people will keep pushing you more and more. You have to just keep growing. You have to break your own limitations.
Coming to this, you must have seen Swamis and Mas in the ashram, how much they are pushing themselves, and they are like beyond a certain kind of limitations, like they are pushing themselves like way beyond which we can imagine. So how did you take it? What was your reaction to this?
More than the striving, because striving everyone was doing. It was the ease with which brahmacharis were able to do it. They don't seem to sweat about it. What you can achieve, they are doing 100 times more without showing even a bit of tiredness or difficulty. Of course, they might something else might be a challenge for them, but this thing was the biggest impact. Not just them, many Ishangas who were coordinators during that time. So all these people, they were doing so many things, multiple things they handle without stress, and they do it just joyfully, with so much ease. That was something I wanted to achieve, have in my own life. That I am able to just play through the situations and do as much as I can to handle so many things, but still be untouched by it. So that was my biggest observation and learning. Yeah, Sadhanapada was just the beginning. I thought that 7 months I'll break my genetics, I'll become enlightened. That was my goal.
Okay.
I even, it is stupid because people are like that, I guess. You think too much of yourself.
Yeah.
So I used to think, okay, so after Sadhguru, I only have to take care of the ashram. I was like, oh, so much entitlement, so much I used to expect out of myself. So I used to walk around with that. You understand, right? When you are in that space, you are seeing the others and like, poor fellow, he doesn't know you are in that state.
Okay.
Then you realize that you are not alone. So many people are thinking they are
like
the
that.
ones. And wondering like, now what do I do?
But the surprising thing is everybody is so intense that they want to just, replace Sadhguru at some point of time. They are thinking that way. They are taking up that courage and that step.
Yeah, they don't care about what is their personal life, anything. They are just thinking that, okay, this I will do. That much is there. Appreciate that really. But you need to understand, as I told, what thoughts you need to believe and what to brush aside.
Yeah.
You need to know.
Yeah.
For me, I realized that 7 months was not enough. So I was thinking what reason to tell at home, how to extend my stay here. One thing was sadhana intensive was starting. So 2 months I told them I will not be coming. But after 2 months I was sure that I am not going back. But how to tell them was the question. And I was thinking how to. Suddenly government announced lockdown. I was like, this is it. This situation was made for me. I was so happy. I know so many people struggled, they lost their lives in that period. But for me, it was the best thing that happened. That I was locked down in the ashram. So nobody to disturb. Everybody's questions were answered. I can't come back home. Nobody needs to ask me anything. So I can continue working on myself. So that was, I think, the most difficult part for me. Because what I wanted, I didn't have the capability to handle. Because once you get all the time for yourself, you need to have the ability to be alone, which I didn't have. So for being alone, you need a certain mental balance, stability, emotionally. Only then you can handle that. So in lockdown, most of the activity has come down.
Ah.
So you are not engaged. So the mind just goes on. And it takes you in so many places. All around the world you can go just from the sitting here. So everything was happening for me. I was doing my sadhana. So things were going intensely. But mentally few things have not dropped. It was questioning everything. So I thought I'll open a restaurant. So I started writing a menu for my restaurant. I was thinking of next steps, what to do if I go outside, how to start a business. So many things from here, staying in the ashram, my mind was outside all the time. And my parents also, when I call them, they used to be like, when are you coming back? So, though my intention was to stay there and focus on myself, mind was going everywhere. And if you don't have that distance, you don't neglect your mind, then you are taken by it, as I already experienced. So this time also I was taken by it. I realized that few things I have to settle before I can to continue this journey. I came back home in 21 November. That is almost 1.5 years after my Sadhanapada. I realized that a few things emotionally I have to work out and I have to permanently settle them so that I can move forward. So that was the reason I came back, and I've been working on that since then. Since the aim was clear, even though I came back here, I continue to stay in touch with ashram, in terms of attending programs and just continuing this journey from here.
We have seen you in almost every Safe Soil event. How did you find yourself suitable to be a Safe Soil volunteer?
See, I didn't have a direction, I just had a goal.
Okay.
So, when I came back in November, I was preparing for Samyama Sadhana that was going to happen in January or December. So, once that was done, the next step, I saw somebody invited me to join Padayatra. So, I thought, okay, fine, some intense activity, let me go.
Can you just explain what is Padayatra?
Padayatra is like, literally means a journey by foot. So it's a pilgrimage kind of, where devotees take up this journey from certain distance. So we started in Kadapa. We walked all the way to Coimbatore, around 800 kilometers. So on the way, some volunteers joined from Bangalore. They got a Ratham. So we were pulling the Ratham. We were going from town to town, village to village in that area. We were just, it's a devotional gathering of people. They are going together. Like how they do Shabarimala process.
Yeah.
In the same way, this is something that Isha offers. So it's a wonderful experience. Like if you want to have wild fun, like it's you're directly in nature.
Yeah.
Sometimes you are in a stream. Sometimes there's a well. You just jump. There's a lake. You're in a forest. You're trekking. So many things will come in that journey that you get exposed to. It will be a wonderful experience. So yeah, if you want to have fun through Isha, I think Padayatra you should do. Not just fun, even devotionally. It changed me a lot because we saw people, simple people. I think so much of myself. I have got so much baggage to drop. But when going through these villages, I just see people just simply sitting there, doing nothing. And I'm like, how can they sit there like that? I am so restless. These guys, they don't know meditation, anything. I have been in Isha, I've done Sadhanapada, I've done 1.5 years more as a volunteer, but still I'm so restless, and these people just sitting there, and when they see the Radham, they just burst out, tears flowing through their eyes. I looked at them and I started bursting out. Like, I started doing namaskaram to those people because they were ready. Just Adiyogi came in and they received it. And I have to do so much sadhana to make this happen for myself. And still there is struggle. I put my own limitation. I tried to sabotage my own process. It was a great blessing that we were carrying this Sadhguru's grace. Adiyogi, we were taking it to those small villages. We were helping them we were touching their lives, and we were learning, we were getting touched by all of them. And the sense of offering they have, at one point we were 50 plus people, coconut vendors, fruit juice vendors, small time business people. They have such a deep reverence and devotion. They saw us and they just offer, you drink 4 coconuts per person, they won't stop you.
Okay.
They'll let everyone have coconuts. They won't charge a single rupee.
Oh.
We, at one point we thought this is Padayatra.
Yeah.
That much food in a single day.
Okay.
Every point we have 4 coconut juice, go to the next point, somebody will offer orange juice. Then we go, somebody will bring sweets or something and give from their shop.
Oh.
Everybody wants to contribute. Just in some way they want to give themselves. They are not able to make the journey, but the journey has come to them and they were just throwing themselves. And imagine like that vendor, if so many people are taking so many coconuts, he is still willing to offer. That was beautiful.
Yeah, totally.
And not just one person, so many of them every day. This used to happen to us on a constant basis. It used to show us like how you can throw yourself, you can just give yourself. There is nothing to hold back. Padayatra culminates at Mahashivratri. Once Shivratri was done, I was coming back in the bus with another volunteer, and then he got a call that there is going to be Safe Soil happening in local centers. So I was from Himadnagar Center. That is where I got initiated. So I thought, okay, fine, I'll visit and see. I don't know anyone except my center coordinator and 1 or 2 other people. But I thought, okay, fine, I'll attend the meeting and see. They gave the introduction that Sadhguru is going to do a bike journey for 100 days. And this is what it will be, a general idea of the movement. Then they asked why you are here today, you can share. So that time I just stood up, and at that point only I decided that next 100 days I will dedicate to Safe Soil, no matter what. I think a couple of days later we did I got opportunity to do the first Safe Soil session. We had somewhere in Habits or somewhere, so we had to do a presentation creating awareness. I don't know about Safe Soil also. I didn't even see the presentation. I just prepared that 1 or 1.5 hours before that, and I just did the presentation. I thought that it is a good opportunity to break my fear of talking in front of people. So it was a good start for me in that way. So once this happened, more and more things started coming in. Right now I don't even know
how many you have attended. You have volunteered in.
It just exploded into something else. First it was school reach out. So I was reaching out to schools. Then I don't even remember how I got into all this. Like we did a short film for Safe Soil. We did a music video. None of which I am experienced for. By profession I am a civil engineer, or I can say a cricketer. I was of a photography background. But what I was doing for Safe Soil was all over the place. We went into mall, we were doing flash mob, we were hosting training sessions. On the streets we were doing stand-a-thon, walkathons. And for making it happen, you have to speak to so many people. You have to talk to policemen, authorities. You are exposed to different situations which in those 100 days I was exposed to so many situations which I don't think I could do in a regular life. The thought process was not to get into a position or anything. It was just to do. Just my time should be dedicated to this. So sometimes we did 4 events in a day. We started off at 6 a.m. in the morning, so we had to wake up much early. 6 a.m. was the first event, and 10 p.m. something like that is the last event. And then we have food. Until then we don't even have a moment to sit down and have food. So we were just running from all over the city to meet the events, deadlines. That was the most beautiful part. Then we started realizing like how Sadhguru's life should be, how beautiful and intense it is. That every day is living like that. We got to experience that in a small proportion. To keep that time, no matter if it happens from that end or not, for you to be there, you have to compromise so many things. Sometimes even food, sometimes your relationships, everything you have to compromise to just keep that commitment. And that I think was what transformed me. And it's also good because many things got dropped off. What were not necessary, I'm still carrying as a burden. I started to realize that no, this is not needed in my life. So it created more space for me to organize myself and become better. And when the journey culminated, that was the first time I think in 100 days I had a good meal.
Oh.
We went to Ashram to welcome Sadhguru. That was on June 21st. So after that, I think 23rd June, we were sitting there in one of the halls. We were served mangoes. And I had 7 mangoes that day.
Okay.
And I was sitting there, I was eating for more than half an hour. And I told some volunteers that I will come and meet them. I forgot that I just was eating food. And after the meal, I told them that, I want to share about my Save Soil experience. And I told them, in last 100 days, this is the first and best meal I had.
Oh God.
Not the first. This is the best first meal I had. Like always it was like eating a samosa and running. Or eating some bananas. Just that's it. Fruity. This was the kind of food. But here I sat down. I got lost into eating. It was so satisfactory.
Okay.
So yeah, this was the first meal I had. First best meal I had after 100 days.
Coming to your current situation, you did your master's into civil engineering. Now you're working in Isha Life store that we have in Hyderabad. Do you ever encounter these questions or people who ask you like, why from civil engineering you are downgrading yourself to this thing?
Yeah, they ask, but for me the answer was always clear. The very purpose of going for masters was to explore myself. So even now that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
So for me the journey is clear. That's why I don't care about explaining to them, because it takes too much time. How many times can you sit and explain your story to people,
Correct.
every day if somebody is asking you.
Yeah.
You just learn to ignore it. Yeah, for some time they try to correct me. Then they get tired, they do, I can't deal with you, and they go away. Many people did that. They thought they'll help me by giving me a career. They gave me projects, civil engineering projects, big projects, like crores of rupees of projects they offered. Some person offered a partnership in their farm to become an investor. They'll have a lifelong profit. All of this they tried. But the only condition was, I said, I'll not compromise volunteering. So, volunteering stayed, everything else fell off.
Okay, with this it's time for the rapid fire round. So Anna will be asking you a few questions and you have to answer rapidly. So the first question is, are you happy now?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, better than where I was. Happy with my choices and happy with the way I'm progressing my life. Only not satisfied. I want to intensify it and move faster.
Had you not met with that accident, would you still have chosen spirituality?
As I've told, I have not chosen spirituality. Whatever I experienced in that moment, I was just searching for that, and I ended up coming into this. So, yeah, I don't think I've chosen it.
What is consecration? Explain in your words.
It's about creating something which will take you where you are supposed to go, rather than be led by your tendencies or to stray away from the truth.
What is more difficult? Explaining about India to foreign people or talking about Save Soil to people?
Save soil to people. Because about India, people are more open. They are willing to listen. They are willing to break their conclusions and want to explore what we tell them. But about Save Soil, people are more giving suggestions to you as to how you should save soil rather than listen to you.
According to you, how much time it will take to implement Save Soil policies by governments at ground level?
I better not talk for the governments because I don't know anything about how they work.
If we consider the pace we are going with, what is your estimation?
We are just waiting for one more upsurge, like how the Save Soil movement happened last year. Everybody just coming together. The same way we are just waiting for that one push. If that happens, then all of us will be again ready for ground level action. It's happening as of now. People are taking it up individually. So I feel that each person is internalizing whatever they've journeyed through in the last year, and they are bringing it into action within their own lives. So yeah, it's just a matter of question when it catches fire, the momentum picks up.
What is the key to so much energy and working tirelessly?
I actually feel the opposite. I am always questioning how to gain more energy, how to be more, how to better myself. I have never looked at it this way. It's only people who tell me that I'm energetic and I do so much.
Sadhana or safe soil volunteering?
Safe soil is fun. But yeah, sadhana is important. I have realized the importance of sadhana in the last few months. After safe soil especially, sadhana started to intensify for me. So activity is important sometimes to intensify your sadhana, but you cannot skip it. You have to stick to sadhana.
What can being in silence for few days do to a person?
For me, it has dropped emotional baggage, a lot of it. And once I come out, I'm more looking forward to action, more activity. I'm ready to pick up more and more. So it definitely deepens your ability to take up things, and it definitely makes you calmer. Every time you go, it's you're coming out like a cooler and cooler version of yourself.
What is Sadhguru for you?
The question remains when I surrender. That's all.
That was a wonderful answer. With this, it's time to wrap up. I feel this podcast will bring light to the lives of those people who are stuck with their own limitations and want to come out, because there is always a way to come out. If you like this podcast, please hit the like button, share, comment, subscribe. See you in next video. Namaskaram. Namaskaram, Anna. Thank you so much.
Welcome.